And like let's say about gold etc. But don't you think that थोड़ा diversification करके gold में ऐसे safe assets में डालना, that doesn't make sense?
I mean, gold particularly I don't like because, it's just one of those silly things that India have grown up with, liking gold. And, it does well for periods of time. But the 100-year compounding rate for gold is 3%, so why would you want to be? The 100-year compounding rate for gold is 3%, so, there are periods when it does very well, like right now it's doing very well, but, and I'm not going to be able to pick out the time and people will get angry on me because they made a lot of money in gold, and good luck to them, I don't think. But gold doesn't pay you a dividend. And kitna gold kharidoge? Aap kahan move karoge gold ko? If you want to take gold out, you can't. Stocks can be sold in 24 hours and liquidated, no tax problems, no issues that you have in equities. Plus it pays you dividend. The stocks that I bought, like I told you, Bharat Electronics, now pay me more than my cost price is dividends per year. Where do you get that in gold? It's just a physical thing. It doesn't help. I'm invested in organic companies that are running India. I own a part of India enterprise every time I own stocks. I kind of like that.
And do you also believe in mutual funds? Or
not really. I mean, to be honest, that's mera kaam kya hai? My job is capital allocation. I'd rather allocate to businesses myself rather than give it to a fund manager. Thoda bahut hai, but nothing meaningful.
So at present, I was just going through some of your portfolio companies as well, mentioned on a lot of websites like Goldiam International, Badiware Specialty Chemicals, etc. So, koi bhi aapke, jaise, I read somewhere, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, that 50% of your portfolio is allocated to 5 stocks. Firstly, is that true?
I mean, I would not 5 stocks, maybe 10 stocks.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So if I just want to understand, abhi at present, what's your thesis looking like? Key sector wise, okay, what are you betting on? And if you've invested in a company like the ones that I've mentioned, ki aapka thesis kya tha before investing in any of the companies that you've invested?
I mean, just to give you an example of Goldiam, which I still own, so I'm not trying to recommend it to anybody at all, is that I bought it when the bull market started. It's very cheap, trading below cash value. So it just made sense. I've still held the stock. I've sold a little bit, but still hold the stock. But they were just incidental investment I've done. Where do I feel? See, ये question मुझे बहुत पूछता है कि अच्छा आपने टेक में बहुत पैसा बनाया, आपने पीसी अभी क्या बनाया? See, it is investment that are good always made at a price. कि ये market cap में अच्छा लगता है. I can't predict the price 5 years from now, 10 years from now and say उस time cheap रहेगा, in the next 10 years will be better for that. So we'll leave that aside. What do I think will do well over the next 3 to 5 years, starting today in August 2025? As a new sector, I will tell you that जो आप आजकल कभी भी कोई paper खोल लो, there are always 2 stories on rare earths, how important they are and how important self-sufficiency they are. There are 3-4 Indian companies working in that area. Rare earths, critical metals, minerals. In that area, generally, I think you'll find some pickings if you look at those stocks in there. Some of the PSU stocks may have had their run, but there's some still available and cheap, and I think they will do well. So I would suggest to you, I have a very diversified portfolio, that if you're incrementally putting money in there, I would suggest you look at some rare earth plays that you do and look at some public sector stocks. I think wait till the quarterly results are out before you make fresh investments. But
what would be your sector-wise allocation in your stock portfolio?
I actually don't do that. I really don't do that homework. I mean, it happened to be over leveraged to public sector stocks in the last 4 or 5 years. But I look at companies, I look ground up. I go visit companies, I go buy companies. I rarely look and say कि मैंने बहुत financial कर लिया या बहुत industrials कर लिया. मेरे को अच्छा लगता है, buy it.
And do you invest outside India as well in the foreign markets?
I do. This is a small amount just to keep myself active. Yes, I do.
So as of now, any specific country that you think there is an investment opportunity or your...
I'll tell you, it's more easy to talk about foreign stocks. So I'll tell you my latest idea, just put it on the record, because there are 1.4 billion Indians and there are 1.4 billion Chinese. And the rest of Asia, maybe another billion people in Indonesia, Pakistan, all these people are there. So you're getting maybe 3-4 billion people living within 3-4 hours of each other out there. And as the world progresses and becomes this thing, they'll all want a vacation. And I believe the number 1 tourist destination in the world will be Thailand, to go there. Because not only are they shopping, they have cheap hotels, they have entertainment, they have nightlife, they have the whole gamut of experiences out there. So I believe there are 4 billion people living there. Maybe 5% of the people can travel every year. Right now, Thailand gets maybe 60 million visitors a year. I think they can easily be 100 million or so. So the biggest beneficiary of that boom is something I've called the Airports Authority of Thailand. So if they own all the 7 airports in Thailand. So whenever a plane lands, they get toll free. Whenever someone does duty-free shopping, they get some revenue. The passenger service fee, they get a unit there. Because ultimately, everyone wants a vacation, and this is a great place to go for a vacation. Hotel chains can change, this thing can change, but this is a natural monopoly on that business. You can't build on the airport easily. You cannot take away the revenue. Now, the stock is down 30-40% from its peak. It was 60 baht, now down to 35-40 baht for some reason, because they were having some slowdown in Chinese tourist arrivals and slowdown in concession stands out there. But that will be rectified, I think. That's what I call a buying in a crisis. The market cap of the company is over $18 billion. Okay, I think it's a reasonable market cap to pay for what will be ultimately, in my opinion, the number one tourist destination. The one criticism also is that a lot of the business is regulated business, but a lot of the business is also unregulated. For example, the price and the duty-free shopping, the parking, the concessions, all unregulated. The parking fees are regulated, but the rest is unregulated. So I think, just because you asked me overseas, I bought a small amount, but I would something that I would keep my eye on. And, do your own homework. I'm not saying you go and buy it, but do your own homework. But since you're asking me what would be an international stock, and I talk freely about them, not Indian stocks before, I would say the stock that just, when I look at it, it makes no sense to me that it's, because this can be a compounding machine for the next 15-20 years. It can grow at 15-20% compounded for the next 15-20 years.
If you learned something new from this video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you the best content possible. Also, if you want to watch this entire episode, click on the link in the description box and you can go to Kushal Lodha YouTube channel and watch the entire podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching this and have an amazing day.